This railway isn't just steel, it's our sovereignty. Our future built by Sahelian hands. We're not asking permission. We're writing history. Imagine for a moment the heart of West Africa. See the land, a very big space of reddish-brown earth under a hot bright sun. This is the Sahel. People often talk about this place as a land of hardship and dust. But if you look closer and listen carefully, you can hear a new sound. It is a rumbling sound that starts deep in the earth and feels like a heartbeat. It is the sound of change, the sound of hope. It is the sound of a revolution. This is the story of a train. But it is not just any train. This is a line of steel 1,200 long that will connect three countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. It is being built to bring new life to these nations. This huge project is not happening in a rich city by the coast. It is happening right here in the middle of the Sahel, a place the world often forget. This is a story about people standing up for themselves. It is a way of telling the world that they no longer need to depend on others. At the center of this big dream is a young, strong leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. He is more than just a president. He is the main builder of this dream. He looked at the problems of past and decided to build a new future with steel and fire. This railway is more than just a way to move things from one place to another. It is a bridge that connects the dreams of millions of people. It is a sign of freedom, a mark of pride. It shows the power of people who have decided to build their own future. So let's begin this journey. This is the story of the Sahel's big dream, a new beginning rolling down the tracks. To understand why this railway is so important, we have to look back at the past. We need to understand the problems that people faced for a very long time. For years, the countries of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger had great riches in their land, but they were never the ones who benefited from it. It was like owning a house full of treasures but not having the key to open the door. Let's think of a farmer. We can call her Mariam. She lives in a small village in Burkina Faso. Her grandfather planted many mango trees, and every year they give her lots of sweet yellow fruit. This fruit should be enough to give her family a better life. It could pay for her children to go to school or for medicine when they are sick. But for Mariam, life was not that simple. Getting her mangoes to a market where she could sell them was very difficult. The biggest seaport was very far away in another country. To get there, her mangoes had to travel on old bumpy roads. A trip that should take one day might take a whole week. With every bump, the mangoes would get bruised. With every day spent under the hot sun, the fruit would start to go bad. By that time the truck reached the port, many of her beautiful mangoes were spoiled and could not be sold. Even if some mango served the trip, she faced more problems at the port. The port was run by companies from other countries. They charged a lot of money to use the port. The rules were confusing. The whole system was set up to help big, powerful outsiders, not a small farmer like Mariam. These ports and roads were built a long time ago by colonial powers. They were not built to help Africa grow. They were built like giant slides to move off wealth out of Africa and send it to other parts of the world. Maria mangoes, the gold from the mines in Mali, the uranium from Niger, all of it was carried away. This was the sad story for millions of people. Miners would dig valuable metals out of the ground, but foreign companies would take most of the money, leaving very little for the people who did the hard work. Farmers would grow the best cotton, but they had to sell it for very low prices to big companies. These companies would then make expensive clothes and sell them in rich countries. So the Sahel was not poor because it had nothing. It was rich in resources, but its wealth was always taken away. The people of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger felt trapped. They were locked in not just because they had nausea, but because of history. They had to depend on other countries for everything. This dependence was like a cane. Every part of the chain was a problem. High transport costs, slow travel, and control by outsiders. The system stopped them from trading with each other and from building a strong future for themselves. For a long time it felt like there was no way out. But then a new group of leaders came and they were ready to break the chains. That big change in the Sahel did not happen slow. It came suddenly like a big storm that clears the air. This change came from a feeling that everyone shared. People were tired of the way things were. In the capital cities of three nations, new leaders came top hour. They were Captain Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso, Colonel Amy Goïta in Mali, and General Abdurrahmani in Niger. These leaders were different. They were young army men who understood the problems of their people because they had seen them with their own eyes. They saw foreign soldiers in their country after many years had not been able to bring peace. They saw companies from other countries getting richer while their own people stayed poor. They felt that the old colonial powers, especially France, still tried to act like they were in charge. Together, these three leaders decided it was time for this toned. Their first big step was a brave one. They told the French soldiers in their countries that it was time for them to pack their bags and leave. This was a very big deal. For years, France had been the most powerful foreign country in the area. Asking its army to leave was a big risk. Other countries in the West warned them that it would be a disaster. But for the leaders and the people of the Sahel, it was a necessary step to be truly free. It was like saying, we will take care of our own home. Now we will choose our own friends. After this brave step, a new friendship was born between the three nations. The leaders knew that if they stood alone, they would be weak. Other countries around them who were friends with the West were threatening to cut them off. So they did something that had never been done before. They created the Alliance of Sahel states. This alliance was a promise to protect each other. They agreed that if any only act one of them, the other two would come to help. It was like three friends standing together to form a shield. But they knew that having a strong army was not enough to be truly free. They also needed to have a strong economy. They needed to be able to support themselves. It was during their meetings that the big idea for their way was born. They looked at a map of their three countries. They saw that their lands fit together perfectly, like pieces of a puzzle. They imagined a new line on the map, not a line drawn by outsiders, but a line of steel that they would build themselves. This line would connect their rich lands directly to Thesia, to a port that they would control. The idea was huge. Some said it was impossible. They did not have the money or the experience to build something so big. But they had something more important. They had a shared dream and a strong wish to show the world what they could do. The railway would be the biggest sign of their new friendship. It would be the project that would turn their three separate countries into one strong family, ready to build a new future together. Every big change needs a leader, someone who can see the path ahead and inspire others to follow. For this new story, being written in the Sahel, that leader is Captain Ibrahim Traoré. To understand the railway, you have to understand the man who is making it happen. Captain Traoré is a new kind-of leader. He is very young. He does not like fancy suits or big ceremonies. You will usually see him in his army uniform, talking simply and honestly to his people. His support comes from the young people and the ordinary citizens of Burkina Faso who felt that nobody was listening to them for a long time. When came to power, his country was facing many problems. People were losing hope that foreign countries had too much influence. The country's wealth was being carried away. Captain Traoré saw this as a deep hurt to the pride of his nation. He believed the first step to fix things was to bring back that pride. His main idea was simple but powerful. The problems of Africa should be solved by Africans. He believed that the answers would not come from other countries, giving them aid or advice. The answers would come from the smart minds, the strong hands, and the brave hearts of the African people themselves. Hadn't just say this. He made it there as in for everything he did. He asked the French army to leave. That was the first big step. But he wanted to go further. He started talking about economic freedom. He told his people, we have the land, we have their sources, we have the people. We just need the courage to build for ourselves. When the railway idea came up, many people said it was just a dream. Where will you get the money? They asked. Who knows how to build such a thing? They said it is too big and too difficult. Captain Traoré did not waste time arguing. He started working. He became the main guide for the project. He spent many hours with the leaders of Mali and Niger to plan every detail. He made Sarethas would be a project for all three countries, a true partnership. He also the effort to find money for their away. But he was careful. He did not want his country to fall into the old trap of taking big loans that they could never pay back. He looked for partners who would treat his country with respect. He used some of his country-sound savings. He looked for new fencing groups like BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. He also had a brilliant idea. He asked his own people who were living and working in other countries to help. He sent them a message from the heart. You may live far from home, but your home is still in your heart. This is your chance to help build our future. This railway is for you and your children. Invest in your home. People were inspired by his words and they started sending money to support the project. This was a new way of funding a dream built by the love of a country's own family spread all over the world. Through his actions, Captain Traoré is showing that this railway is more than just a project. For him, every piece of track they lay down is a step away from dependence. Every train that on it is a symbol of African pride. He is not just building a railway. He is building a new way of thinking. He is proving to the world and to his own people that anything is possible when you have the courage to dream and fuel. To work. Building a railway that is 1,200 miles long is a very big job. It means working on difficult land, getting thousands of people to work together, and managing a lot of money and materials. This is how the Sahel is building its dream piece by piece. The path of freedom. The path of the railway is very clever. It doesn't follow the old roads that were built to take wealth away. Instead, it creates a new path, a new backbone made of iron for the Sahel countries. The railway starts where the three countries meet in an area called Lapako Gorma. This area is full of valuable things like gold, lithium, and other minerals. From there, the railway will go through the parts of Burkina Faso where farmers grow cotton and other crops. This will give them a fast and cheap way to sell what they grow. Then it will cross the wide open lands of Mali, connecting towns and villages that have been cut off from the world for a long time. Finally, the railway will go through Nia to a brand new port in the Atlantic Ocean. This port will be special because it will be owned and controlled by the three Sahel countries themselves. This new path changes everything. Right now, a truck carrying goods from a mine in Nia might take many weeks to reach an old port. The new train will make that same trip in just 2 or 3 days. This will save a huge amount of money. It means the countries will earn much more from their own resource and that money can be used to build schools and hospitals for their people. Green power for a green future. Fellators wanted this railway to be modern and good for the earth. So they made every smart choice. The trains will run in a mix of solar power and electricity. This is a big deal. While much of the world still uses fuel that pollutes the air, the Sahel is jumping ahead to a clean green technology. Big solar farms will be built next to the tracks. These farms will capture the power of the sun, which is something the Sahel has. A lot of this sun power will run the trains. This is also a very smart move for another reason. It means they will not have to buy expensive diesel fuel from other countries. The railway will run on the power of the Sahel's own sun. It is another way of being free, an army of builders. A big project like this needs a lot of workers. It is said that over 38,000 local people are being hired to build this railway. Think about what this means. It means 38,000 familiar shave a new source of income. Think of a young man named Ali in a village in Mali. Before the railway, he did not have a job and his future was not clear. Now, Ali has been trained to be a welder. Every day he goes to work and joins pieces of steel track together. He feels proud because he knows he is not just earning money, he is building a better future for his country. He is a builder, a hero of this new time. There are thousands of stories like Ali's. The project is creating jobs for engineers, drivers, and managers. It is creating a new generation of skilled workers. The project also tries to use materials from the local area like cement and stone. This helps local businesses grow. The money being spent in the railway is helping the entire region become richer, a better life for everyone. When the first train runs on this track, it will change the life of millions. Let's go back to Mariam, the mango farmer. With the new railway, her life will be completely different. She will be able to send her mangoes to the new port in less than 2 days. They will arrive fresh and ready to be sold. She will get a much better price for them. She can now sell her fruit not just in her own country, but to the whole world. This will be the story for many small business owners. The railway will help them trade with each other much more easily. New businesses will open up along the railway line like small factories and shops. The towns and cities along the path will grow. This railway is not just about transportation. It is a powerful machine that will create jobs and help everyone have a better and more prosperous life. It is the key that will finally unlock great promise of the Sahel. This railway is more than just steel and concrete. What makes it truly special is that it is being built with a deep respect for the culture and history of people. The leaders of this project know that a country is not just about money and buildings, it is about its people and their stories. This railway is designed to be a moving celebration of the Sahel's heart and soul, stations that tell a story. The train stations along the route will be beautiful and unique. They will not be boring modern boxes. Each one will be a work of art that shows the culture of the area where it is built. For example, in Burkina Faso, the main station will be inspired by the traditional buildings of the Mossi people. It will have curved walls and special patterns that tell histories of their great history. It will be designed to stay cool inside using clever old ways of building that people have used for hundreds of years. When the train crosses into Mali, the stations will look different. They will be designed to show the wisdom of the Dune people. Maybe the roofs will be shaped like the buildings where they stood their grain, and the posts will be carved with signs from their stories about the stars. A station in Mali will be a place to learn about their amazing culture. Then, when the train goes into Niger, the stations will change again. They will feel open and wide, like fegreet grasslands where people have raised their animals for centuries. The designs might use patterns from their beautiful leather work or the colorful cloth they make. A station in Niger will be a tribute to their way of life and their deep connection to the land. Art on the move. This celebration of culture will be seen everywhere. Young artists are painting huge, colorful pictures on walls and bridges all along the railway line. These are not just decorations, they are storybooks. One picture might show a famous queen from long ago. Another might show farmers working together. Another might show the proud faces of the young people who are rebuilding the railway today. The train itself will be like a moving artillery. The sound of history inside that train. There will be more special touches. The announcements will be not only in French but also in the local languages that people speak every day. This is a small detail, but it is very important. It tells the people this railway is for you. It speaks your language. There is also a plan to share stories during the journey. As the train moves through the country, a gentle voice might come on the speakers. It will be the voice of an elder from a village nearby, telling a traditional story about a mountain or a river that passengers can see outside their window. This will turn a train ride into a beautiful journey through the history and soul of the land. This is why the Sahel Railway is so different. It is moving forward to a new future, but it is taking its wonderful culture and a story along with it. It is a railway with a heart. When the leaders of the 3 Sahel nations decided to build this railway, it was big news all over the world. It was like they were playing a game of chess with the powerful countries of the world, and they suddenly made a move that no one expected. For a very long time, rich countries were used to being in control in Africa. This railway was a way for the Sahel countries to say, "We are starting a new game now, and we will make our own rules." The country that was most surprised was France. For many years, France had the most power in this part of Africa. Its companies controlled a lot of Thebessiness, and its army was there. The new Sahel leaders had already asked the French army to leave. Now with this railway, They were building a new path to the sea that completely avoided the old ports that France had influence over. They were breaking free from the old system,